pat him.
So this week we're going to be mainly focusing on the update on Ozzie, the Kiger Mustang from Oregon, who is a 10-year-old. So it's taken me a little bit longer. I think we're on our 4th month together. And he's been a very good boy. Things have gone slow. I've made sure to go nice and slow with him, and now I've finally progressed to where I every day can hop on him, and today was the 2nd day that I've been able to sit on and actually ride. Normally I'll just lay on him halfway, and kind of been building up to this. So I'm really liking the energy that he has. He's really relaxed and kind of listening and just being kind of curious. He's in a good mindset for him, which has been important with this horse and developing the relationship of trust. He's still very much can have doubts that humans are trustworthy, but he is definitely coming along, and I was very proud of him. This was the morning I was actually bringing him in to eat his breakfast. So I had just done a little bit of groundwork in this paddock before I popped on him, and then he was handling the cameraman very well. And every now and then you'll see I kind of will lay over on his back and then move around and then ask him to stop and then back up. And so all those things, just making sure that he's used to me kind of moving around and asking him to do some transition work, and all that is really important in getting the horse comfortable and relaxed. And today was a very windy day, which sometimes can set especially the Mustangs up a little bit to be on the guarded side. So I was really proud of how he was just mentally here. Here you can see Ozzie is eating his breakfast, and I'm kind of taking advantage of this with having the tack right there, as well as me sitting on the fence boards. He's still very leery and very concerned about that. So now I'm going through actually working on getting him to come to me while I'm sitting on the fence. And so here I add the pressure, and as soon as he comes to me, I back away and sit back up on the fence. And he is learning that when he goes to leave me, there's going to be much more pressure. And as you can see, he's really starting to figure it out. I'm just talking to him and telling him to come here, and I'm getting the lick and chews. This is really kind of a fun moment for me because I've been working on this for a while and I've had to stay pretty patient, but he is really kind of wanting to do what I'm asking him to, and it's just really cool when you have them when they're not so sure about something, and then they finally, the light bulb kind of goes off, and he starts to figure out that I want him to come near me. So you see with my fingers, I'm going up and down with them, putting pressure, and so I'll keep doing that with my hand. And then the minute he comes, I draw it away and give him a rub. And I'm teaching him to come into the pressure, which can be kind of tricky sometimes because you want to teach them to go away from pressure, but then also to come into pressure, especially with a horse that, like Ozzie, who has been very fear-driven. So this is a big undertaking for him. He was always worried about me being a little higher than him, especially on the fence board, and so this was a really good moment for him.
Good boy. Moving around. Yes. Oh, good looking chew. Good boy. Up here, Mark. Up here. Up here. Come on. Come on. Good boy.
Now, the next step has been with Ozzie is moving forward with the tack. Now he's again a very fear-driven horse, so this has taken a lot of work. This is the end of the week, and again I've been working on this for a while, so I'm finally getting the curiosity factor with him, and so he's really starting to open up a lot more. And as you can see, it's just through repetition, and I like to be quiet. He used to be really bad about just turning and running. So, and again, you can see how windy it is, and he was being very, very good and trying to stay keyed in on me. So, and there's still a little bit of flinch, but again, normally he is so just guarded and wants to run the other way. So now he's learning that everything's going to be okay, and try to give him a rub. And I'm really happy with how he is. He's very relaxed. He's got one leg cocked. He's kind of willing to sniff the saddle. Before, he wanted nothing to do with the saddle, and it's still a bit of a process if I have the saddle up on the panel. That's why I've been feeding him next to it, just getting his confidence and trying to reinforce positive with the saddle. So I am putting it on back and forth, kind of each side. This is a Wintech saddle, so it's nice and light, so I'm able to do my repetitions without getting worn out, and it's also not super heavy, and so doesn't really hurt, affect the horse too much that way. But I'm really happy with how he's standing, learning to ground tie, and I'm getting much better about when I'm jingling things around. It's really important to not treat him as glass. It's hard sometimes when you feel like that horse is really upset or what have you to kind of want to treat them a little bit like glass, but it's important to just keep kind of going, keep the energy low. And I kind of took advantage. There was a piece of paper that fell on the ground there, so I thought I would use that as an advantage. And I had a little piece of plastic that came from a feed bag, so it actually smelled like food. So I used that to use the crinkling, and you can see he's worried, but this is the first time that I've used plastic, so this is my first step. I'm going to rub him with it. I'm going to let him sniff it. I want to not scare him. I want to kind of build the confidence. So I'm just seeing how far I can go before it kind of elicits a little bit more fear. So then I'm going to stay where he's comfortable before I add a little bit more, if that makes sense. And I was really kind of happy where that was. I wasn't going to really push too much in the back, and he was tolerating it. So oftentimes I feel like I need to just take what they're giving me and move forward. So I was really happy with how he was with the plastic. And here I am putting on the bridle. This is the second day with the bit, which is just a full cheek snaffle, and I'm just have it in his mouth. So all the work I'm doing is just with the halter. The bit is just sitting there. So I like my horses to get really comfortable in wearing a bit before I even start putting any pressure on it. So now I move to ground driving him, and I think this is the third time he's ground driven. Ground driving is amazing. I really like incorporating it into my work, especially when I have a very flighty horse, very sensitive horse. This type of work works very well, gaining their confidence. And you can see him flipping up the stirrups, which is getting him used to stuff hitting his sides, and getting him to back. So all the maneuvers that I want to be doing while I'm on him, I'm going to ask on the ground. Now here I'm jumping up and down a little bit. He used to be very sight sensitive with me just in his blind spot, or if I didn't do something quite right. So this is preparation for if you're to trip, or if something's to happen and you have to move out of the way. You don't scare your horse, and he can be accepting of that. So again, while I'm ground driving, I'm going to use my clicking to get him to go forward, and then use the cue to say ho, change directions by the pressure. Using that one rein turn, I start teaching that from the ground. That's very important. Once you get on your horse and say something happens, at least they have a little bit of that foundation knowledge to use a one rein stop, or at least have a ho in there. So you can see every now and then he gets a little worried and wants to stop. That's actually a nice response to have. And I was really happy with how he's been responding. The ground driving has really improved his work, and he seems to be the type of horse that does well with work. The more his brain has to engage, the better he is. So now I'm just getting on both sides, kind of flopping around a little bit, trying to be a little bit of a monkey. Just preparing, all this stuff really helps building a nice quiet horse for that one time where you may miss the stirrup and fall over on your horse. You don't want that horse to go, getting worried and bucking or what have you. So I want to make sure that he's very confident with me, just kind of, like I said before, monkeying around on his back and doing it from both sides. I've built up confidence on both sides. And here I'm using the stirrup bar to kind of tap his side to get him to move forward. Now, earlier this week, I used a dummy on his back, Dusty the dummy, just to kind of help aid in the progression of him seeing things up high and having stuff flop and hit his sides, which has been a really good tool for me. So, and again here, he's able to take the pressure of me kind of bumping his sides and getting him to walk forward. He's a little bit stickier in the saddle than he is when he's bareback. So, like I said, we're just kind of taking things slow. I'm just asking him to go forward and asking him to move backwards, getting him to be soft in the halter. Again, it's just the halter. You don't have the bit attached in any way. It's just purely in his mouth. And he has a nice expression. His ears aren't too forward and tight, and they're not straight back all worried. He seems to have a nice soft eye. He's just trying to figure out exactly what I want. So here I'm trying to get him to yield a little bit, just bumping with the outside leg. Getting him to go both ways. And just playing with being up high on his back. Again, just trying to have him prepared for anything. So now I'm going to get on and off on both sides. I think it's important to build. You have to build up to that stage as well. For the longest time, I was only able to work the left side because he didn't trust me enough on his right side. So it really is a process, and it can take day in and day out of kind of the same maneuvers and just trying to build that until finally they have a little bit of a breakthrough. And this week definitely has been a breakthrough for this horse. He still hasn't completely let go. I still feel like he's almost better when I am working him on his back sometimes than he is on the ground. But that just takes work and takes progress. So it's going to be a really, really nice horse, and I've enjoyed working with him so far. And here you see I'm going up and down, just practicing moving around. And now I'm going to untack him. He gets a little worried right here when I take the tack off, but that's not too big of a deal. I just go back, reiterate what I had done earlier in the lesson by, letting him see it, letting him touch it. Once he stands there, I take the pressure away. I let the saddle touch him. It's not a big deal. You can stand still. And with him, I like to end my sessions just popping on him bareback, and it was a really great day for Ozzie.